Hey guys, Metal Jesus here, and I am back with some gameplay footage of one of my all-time favorite racing games. That, of course, is Need for Speed Porsche Unleashed. This game was originally released back in 2000, and you see me playing it here on my Windows 98 machine, my classic gaming PC. And this was the machine that I originally ran it on, and I'm feeling so much nostalgia watching this because, like I said, I absolutely love this game. Now, if you couldn't tell by the title of the game, well, it was a very unique release in the entire Need for Speed franchise because it focused just on one car manufacturer, that of course being Porsche, and in doing so, they go through the entire history of Porsche cars, starting at the very beginning all the way to what was current at the time. And so, for instance, in this footage right here, I'm racing a 1995 911 Turbo, and later on you're going to see me racing in a much earlier, much squirrelier version of a Porsche, which will be a 1950 356 Cabriolet. And I'll be honest, when I first got this game, yeah, I was familiar with Porsches, but I wouldn't say I was the biggest fan because, you know, I liked really exotic sports cars like Lamborghinis and Ferraris. But one thing that this game did was really give me an appreciation for the Porsche brand and all of their cars. So much so, I was immediately a fan after playing this game. And what this game does really well is model each one of those cars and makes them feel very unique and authentic to the time, at least for a video game. So for instance, in this first race, I'm really struggling with that back end of that Porsche there because it wants to slide out from under me and frankly is pretty dangerous. I mean, there's a reason why a lot of these Porsches were considered widowmakers, because they would be very dangerous to drive if you didn't know what you're doing. And you see me really struggling with the balance of power and just keeping the car in control. But then when we get over to the 1950s, well, that race is a completely different animal because, well, you'll see that the body roll of a 1950s Porsche is pretty extreme. I mean, that car really, it's a bear to drive, but it's balanced because it has almost no real horsepower. So the top speed isn't very high, but it's still a real challenge to keep it under control, and it's a much different experience to drive it. And so from a viewer's perspective, the 1950 ones looks like a little bit of a leisurely drive through Normandy, France, but in actuality, you really have to pay attention. And so that's what this game does extremely well. And again, when you play through the history of Porsche, man, you get to some really modern, fast cars that are a blast to drive, but then you'll go back and you'll play some of the earlier ones. Yeah, it's just a really cool scenario. I wish that Need for Speed would do the same thing for Lamborghini and Porsche and some of those other really big brands, because I think it was just super unique for the time, and again, definitely one of my favorites.
You play sport. Three, two, one, go!